Yuki Tsunoda's future in F1 hangs in the balance for now, as Red Bull is yet to decide whether or not Sergio Perez will leave the team in 2024. But rumours emerged recently that Sonoda might leave the Red Bull family altogether, which would be a shocking move since he's one of the most talented drivers to ever come out of the Honda Formula Dream project, which, as we know, is collaborating with Red Bull. But with Honda and Red Bull stopping their collaboration from 2026 onwards, Yuki can certainly find himself very quickly on a rival Red Bull team. After a decent amount of negotiation, Aston Martin and Honda have officially confirmed their partnership set to start in the 2026 season, coinciding with the introduction of a new generation of power units. This marks a significant transformation for the team as they transition into a work outfit, enjoying exclusive access to Honda's power unit technology. While the 2026 Formula 1 season is still several years away, Honda acknowledges the challenge of predicting what the Aston Martin driver lineup, currently composed of Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, will look like at that time. However, with Honda nurturing its own stable of racing talent, they want to see some of these promising drivers as potential candidates for seats at Aston Martin as part of this collaboration. This is where one prominent driver on Honda's radar is their academy graduate, Yuki Tsunoda, who's been competing with Red Bull's sister team AlphaTauri since making his Formula 1 debut in 2021. He's originally from our school, and in Formula 1 he's doing very well. Watanabe said at the announcement of Aston Martin and Honda's partnership. We're very happy to see him succeed, but talking about the future, we still have 3 years to go, so it's early for us to say what will happen. I don't think it's the time to talk about this, but we're hoping that he'll become a candidate, but it's up to the team to make the final decision. Aston Martin's CEO, Martin Whitmarsh, shares a positive outlook on Yuki Tsunoda's career progression with AlphaTauri and believes that Sonoda would be keen to maintain his association with Honda at Aston Martin. Whitmarsh openly acknowledges Sonoda as a driver of interest, highlighting his impressive performance this year despite his young age and relative experience, and he emphasizes the shared goal of both Honda and Aston Martin to have the best possible drivers in their cars to secure victories in the 2026 season. Sonoda is viewed as a strong candidate for a potential role, with Whitmarsh expressing hope for serious discussions about his inclusion in the team as his career develops over the next few years. Sonoda also thinks that this new Honda project with Aston Martin would be exciting, and his goal is to show his value on whichever team he's on. It's a good thing that they consider my driving because that shows that they know that I'm a good driver. In the end, it's my target to show every team my value and how good I am. And you know, if I have a lot of interested teams, for example, not only Aston Martin, but Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, whoever, it's good if I get to choose somewhere. I think to be successful in Formula 1, you have to be in that situation anyway, at a top team, at some point, so that's my target. And for now, I just need to create that environment that shows my value and builds really well on those things. I mean, it'll be good if I go to Aston Martin with Honda if I get an offer, but I also love the Red Bull family. I think I suit it well as a character and in their kind of environment. So I really like Red Bull, and you know anything can happen. It depends on how I feel and how my situation is, but it's an exciting project for sure, especially for Honda. Well, the recent trend suggests that having a works engine agreement is essential for a competitive edge in Formula 1. However, it's evident from current scenarios that it doesn't guarantee success, with minor teams sometimes outperforming giants like Mercedes, and more importantly, there's no significant benefit of one power unit over another at present. Lawrence Stroll has ambitious plans for the team, often mentioning a 5-year plan, and whether the 2026 engine shift aligns with this remains uncertain. For years, Mercedes was the unrivaled choice for teams, but recent wins from customer teams like Sergio Perez's in Sakir and Daniel Ricciardo's in Monza are shifting this narrative. The speculation is that Aston Martin might be shifting to Honda because Mercedes might prioritize its performance over supporting customer teams. Historically, Honda's partnership has been a mixed bag, and what I mean by this is that they flourished with teams like Red Bull but flopped with McLaren. And now the prospect of Fernando Alonso, age 41, driving a Honda-powered car is an intriguing twist, and Honda has been unpredictable in their F1 commitments. After delivering winning cars with Brawn and Red Bull, they often made unexpected exits. Now, because Yuki Tsunoda is tied to Honda, the question arises about the driver lineup. Does the gap between Stroll and Alonso become an issue at some point? Lawrence Stroll doesn't own 100% of the company, but he is Lance's father, and there's no denying that DNA connection. But if Sonoda does go to Aston Martin, he's likely to be replacing Alonso, who will be 44 by the start of the 2026 season. The Spaniard's current contract with Aston Martin doesn't run until then, but so far in 2023, he's defied all expectations, finishing on the podium 7 times, and has stated his intention to race for as long as he remains competitive. Also, not to mention that he's been linked to the Audi team in 2026. At the end of the day, Yuki Tsunoda's first seasons with AlphaTauri had their ups and downs. However, he seems to be finally meeting the expectations set by his departing team manager, Franz Tost, as Tost believed that every driver requires 3 years to genuinely find their pace in Formula 1. Sonoda has been demonstrating a commendable performance against all 3 of his teammates this season: De Vries, Ricciardo, and now Lawson, who, bear in mind, has already won a title in the Formula 2 and Formula 3 championships. Tost even hinted at Sonoda's potential to fit into Red Bull's main team in the near future. Nonetheless, Red Bull appears to be taking a measured approach, as their team principal, Christian Horner, believes Sonoda isn't quite there yet. Moreover, as Pierre Gasly's situation demonstrated, shining at AlphaTauri doesn't necessarily guarantee a slot on Red Bull's primary roster. In case Aston Martin has a spot available, Sonoda would be an excellent fit, in theory, but unless he proves himself at the front of the pack soon, the likelihood of Lance Stroll's involvement could pose a significant obstacle that would have to be overcome. Sonoda, unless there's a significant shift, doesn't possess the same appeal and reliability as Alonso. Moreover, it's doubtful that team owner Lawrence Stroll would replace his son Lance, given that he's currently in the role Sonoda might potentially take on, despite the fact that he would be under pressure should Stroll continue to underdeliver like he has so far this season. This scenario will gradually unravel, and it may pave the way for some early intricate talks between Aston Martin and Honda, ones that might even bring some tension. Yuki has definitely improved a lot over the last couple of seasons, but I don't think a Sonoda-Stroll pairing is really the most inspiring lineup for a team that might be hoping to compete for championships by then. Not to mention that who knows how safe Stroll's seat would be after the Honda deal too, especially if Honda has some small amount of influence on the drivers, so you have to imagine they'd be at least questioning his permanent place at the team. Then again, Honda has vowed to at least have one Japanese driver in their lineup, partly because of that Japanese bond, and while there is a talented driver in F2 in the form of Ayumu Iwasa, I don't believe that Honda will risk that and bring him in without any experience, which leaves Yuki as the sole choice. But only time will tell how this situation develops. But one thing is for certain, and that is that the 2026 season will shake up things quite a bit. So after hearing all that, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think Sonoda will join Aston Martin at the start of their Honda partnership? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.